Hello, everybody. Here at One Hit Thunder, we're committed to creating the best experience for our listeners. To help us learn more about you and what you want to hear, please head to surveymonkey.com/r/FPZY5JQ to take a short survey. Your feedback helps us improve the show and supports the sponsors who make this show possible. As a thank you, you'll be entered into our monthly drawing to win one of two $50 gift cards. If you want a chance to win one, go ahead and grab a pen and jot down this address: surveymonkey.com/r/FPZY5JQ. And thanks for helping us grow the show.
All new drinks are now at McDonald's, with refreshers like the Strawberry Watermelon Refresher and the Mango Pineapple Refresher with popping boba, to crafted sodas like the Sprite Berry Blast with berry flavors and cold foam. Who knew ice-cold drinks could be so fire? Try them all now at McDonald's.
Refreshers contain caffeine. Copyright 2026, The Coca-Cola Company. Sprite is a registered trademark of The Coca-Cola Company.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
We recently did a listener-sourced Thundred countdown of the 100 greatest one-hit wonders of all time, which was a balanced mix of the expected and the surprising. One of the most shocking songs to make the list was Scritti Politti's Perfect Way, mostly because neither guy who hosts a 300-plus episode podcast about one-hit wonders even knew the song. It landed at number 70 on the list, putting it above names you'd expect to see, such as Joan Osborne, Harvey Danger, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and Tom Cochrane. So how did this synth-pop gem manage to avoid our ears for all these years, while simultaneously making such an impact on at least some of our listeners? This week, we explore the eclectic career of Scritti Politti to find out what we've been missing.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
So Matt, we recently did our one-hit wonders, Thundred, the top 100 one-hit wonders of all time. And it was based off of lists from our listeners and past guests and friends and family. You know the deal. Obviously, you and I do a podcast about one-hit wonders. And it was shocking to me that there was a song that made the Thundred at number 70. Not even like at number 99 or something. Number 70, above some pretty notable songs that neither of us knew.
Didn't know even a little bit of it, Chris. And even when I listened to the song today, just to double check, I was like, maybe I do vaguely know. No, I have so little memory of this song's existence. It was baffling that I have no clue that this song exists.
Yeah, but now that I know it exists, and we have a lot to talk about with Scritti Politti, that's who we are talking about today. In specific, the song Perfect Way. And I was pretty fascinated, man, about everything I found out about this band. I'm calling them a band. It's really the brainchild of one guy, Green Gartside. which is not his real name, by the way. His actual name is Paul Strohmeyer. But when his widowed mom married Gordon Gartside, he took that last name, and then Green became his name because there were two other Pauls in his class, and he wanted something different. And he was inspired by listening to a Captain Beefheart album where it like inspired him to name himself something made up. So he went with Green. Green Gartside is, for most intents and purposes, now he collaborates with a lot of people, but he is pretty much Scritti Politti.
Yeah, I mean, he is the band.
Right.
It definitely started as a band.
Yeah.
And then very quickly became kind of a solo project.
Kind of. He always had collaborators. Yeah. He is from Wales, but at age 14, he formed a branch of the Young Communist League along with his friend and future Scritti Politti bassist Niall. Is that how you say that name? Niall Jinx? Nial. Isn't there a guy in One Direction with that name? Am I wrong?
Possibly, but I do want to remind you, you're asking me how a name is pronounced.
Neil? Maybe it's just Neil. Maybe it's just a different way to spell Neil. It doesn't really matter. Neil
I think
Jinx.
it might be a different way to spell Neil, but
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Okay. But by the mid-70s, Green moved to England to study fine arts at Leeds Polytechnic. In 1977, he formed the post-punk band Scritti Politti with Neil and another friend named Tom Morley. Now, I saw that they're referenced as a post-punk band. Now, when I think of post-punk, and this is once again just throwing generic titles on something, but I think of I don't know, who do you think of when you think of that word? I think of Fugazi.
Yeah, maybe Fugazi, but Fugazi's too late for post-punk.
Okay.
Post-punk, I think a lot of people would put post-punk as like a Gang of Four, which I believe Scritti Politti toured with at some point. But Gang of Four was when they're referring to late 70s post-punk, they're referring to the bands that took the ethos of the Damned and Sex Pistols and all of that and made slightly more post-punk is almost like the 70s and 80s version of pop punk. We took the ethos of punk, but we're a little bit more melodic in our nature. Which if you've listened to any of those early the early EPs that they put out, it is punk. It is way more rocky than what Scritti Politti became known for.
Well,
and they were inspired by the Sex Pistols. He said he saw the Sex Pistols and the Damned play a show together and literally said, I want to form a band.
Okay.
And that's when he started the band. So,
well, in my listening journey of Scritti Politti, I started at their debut album. It's called Songs to Remember, that came out in September of 1982 on Rough Trade Records.
Yeah.
And I guess they had some recordings before that I didn't hear. But I think that definition of post-punk has really changed now. I think
because punk, I mean, again, yeah, because you're talking about Fugazi, but Fugazi's like a 90s band. You know what I mean? That's post, post the hardcore scene, post-punk.
That's really what I think of, are these bands that have hardcore influences and stuff. But I was shocked because I put on this album where I'm expecting to hear I don't know, heavy punk music. And dude, this album is so strange stylistically. There's reggae songs, there's funky songs, there's saxophone, there's ballads. I hear a lot of soul influence in it. And what I hear on this album is someone whose songwriting, even though he's a young guy at this point, someone whose songwriting is pretty sophisticated, maybe sophisticated beyond the recording itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to give a quick update, because I wanted to look it up. So post-punk is loosely defined as the music genre and period that emerged in 1977 in the wake of punk rock. It is noted for being in the ethos of the punk energy and the DIY ethic, but blending that punk ethos with more experimental music. And early post-punk bands that they mention are like Susie and the Banshees and Public Image, LTD.
Yeah, Limited.
So like those bands that were like, okay, they're a little punky, but yeah, they're like almost indie rock, art, college rock music at the same time. And they were, I'm not sure if I watched a 45-minute documentary called From Tinseltown to Boogie Down.
The BBC made it. Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
The BBC made it. And then I also watched a clip of a documentary about Rough Trade, which was the indie record label that they were associated with. That's where I heard some of their 70s stuff. They played like this like kind of punky, scrappy, specifically this Skank Block Bologna song. Which I don't think is how that is pronounced at all, but we'll get there. But they were like, when they started, they were very, very in tune with the DIY thing of like, they learned how to press their own records. They worked at a record store. They would put on their music while they sat there folding their own individual singles and just like selling them from the counter. If anybody was like, oh, I like this music, they'd be like, oh, it's my band. Here's our album.
Right. And Rough Trade Records was, known for that. It was almost like more of a co-op than it was a record label. And also their politics fit right with what Green's was. They had very left-wing politics. This label eventually they signed the Smiths. That was their claim to fame. Maybe a year later after this debut album, this 1982 debut album from Scritti Politti we're talking about, then the label was resurrected in the 90s, and they put out stuff for the Libertines, the Strokes, Anthony and the Johnsons, and, other bands. So I think at that point, it was like just that name had such a legacy to it.
For sure. This was very, very cool. I feel like this checks a pretty big box for both of us on just badass dudes. Scritti Politti, after they put out their singles and their EPs, but before they released the full length, actually produced a booklet that they called How to Make a Record, and they gave it out to people for free, and it just gave them step-by-step instructions on how to record, press, and make your own records to sell without needing a record label to help you. And that kind of, again, goes to their like Marxist, communist, like free information attitudes about stuff. Like they really did kind of put their money where their mouth is in the beginning. And then I think it all comes down to a panic attack in 1979 that changes the course of this band entirely.
Yeah, I mean, it was very early on that this was not a live band, not a, what band, project, solo artist, whatever you want to call this. The live show was out pretty early because Green wasn't feeling it. He had panic attacks, had stage fright. And so as we talk about Scritti Politti, we are talking about a studio act for the most part here. And that's tough, man. Especially imagine if you have this sort of punk rock ethos about you. And I just feel like playing live shows is like paramount in that, just being a recording project. I don't know, man. On the other hand, I guess it is pretty punk rock to do your own thing and to say like, hey, playing live, I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, there is it is kind of a buck the system decision, right? You're like, this isn't for me. I'm not going to be a part of it, but thanks for all the support. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it just, but they push forward on this. But what ended up happening is he has these panic attacks. He goes back to his parents, and this is where he decides that he really wants to make pop music. He stopped listening to punk music while he was at his parents' house, started listening to what was happening on the radio at that time, whether it was Chic, the Jacksons. He even started listening to older records from the Beatles and Aretha Franklin. And he has this quote in the very short documentary that I watched about Rough Trade, where he just said, I figured out how to write a punk song. I wanted to figure out how to write a pop song. I wanted to challenge myself to abandon all the skills that I had as a songwriter and create new skills. And then I found a quote from when he was being interviewed about him. In 1981, they interviewed him because he was walking away from the do-it-yourself thing. He was going to try to find a record label and do this more radio-friendly music. And people were like, oh, you're a sellout. And this was the quote that he gave explaining his decision. He said, in the simplest terms, we were sick to death of the ghetto that was the independent scene. The Garageland section of the music papers became more and more closeted, with more and more people sitting in their bedrooms just making cassettes and swapping them with other people making cassettes. And there were more and more silly names, and it just began to smack of hippiness. It became an aging alternative that was never going to present a route for people who wanted to make their music on a wide scale. We never particularly wanted to be just a cult group, but the music was very marginalized, and so were we, perhaps rightly so, stereotyped as just intellectuals in a band.
Well, we're reading that. It sounds to me like what was this really cool thing turned into a little bit of a parody of itself.
100%. Although I do think that he says the band names were getting sillier and sillier. Like, sir, you're in a band called Scritti Politti.
Yeah. True. I do think that comes from. I saw where that comes from. I don't really.
I have it up here. Hold on a second. It's from a Marxist writer.
Okay.
In Italian, he wrote a thing called the Political Writings that was Scritti Politici, and they changed it to Scritti Politti. Instead.
It's a strange band name. It almost I think it does a little bit of a disservice to the
It works against them. It sounds like I did not know what to expect the music of. I actually honestly thought Scritti Politti, just based on that name, I was like, this is going to be some dumb fucking hair metal band that I've never heard of from the early 80s.
Yeah. I see where
it's right in there with like Enough Znuff and like all those other types of band names.
Yeah, it does make me think of them. I do want to say about Songs to Remember, this debut album, there was the final track on the album is a song called The Sweetest Girl. And that became like a fan favorite. That was a song that kind of caught on. And we'll talk more about that song later because they re-recorded it later. It's got like a reggae feel to it at certain points. It's kind of a cool song. Actually, Matt, thought this was pretty interesting. 3 years later, so on our Thundred list, number 70 was Scritti Politti. Number 71 was Madness. Madness covered The Sweetest Girl in 1985.
I did clock that. That's awesome. What a weird like little piece of symmetry.
Yeah. And also it's worth noting at this era that Green not only is, this album and that song are catching on a little bit, they're also like, or he, I should say, is respected among like other cool bands because he does guest vocals on the Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams Are Made of This album on a cover of a Sam and Dave song called Wrap It Up. That album was huge. I assume, I don't know the Eurythmics' trajectory, whether it was like they were on the same level as Scritti Politti and then blew up because of that song. I don't know where they hit. But regardless, Annie Lennox thought that Green was cool.
Annie Lennox was into it. I wish Annie Lennox thought we were cool.
Annie Lennox rocks, man. Hey, it's very notable. One thing to say right now before we get into the next era of Green's life. I really feel like this is like a walk hard kind of story where every era
it kind of
is like a different style of music or something. But I want to talk for a second about Green's voice. It's a very different kind of voice. It's very high. It's very clear and clean sounding. And I would say it's a great voice. The guy definitely has a great and memorable voice. Might be a little on the thin side, but it does lend itself pretty well to pop music, which was the next chapter in the Scritti Politti saga here. So you referenced that he went back to Wales for a while. He always seems to do that between eras, goes back to Wales. But he emerges from that and moves to New York City. And now he's got different bandmates. Keyboardist David Gamson, who I see, noted as a songwriting partner a lot on the songs that are coming up, and drummer Fred Marr. And they released the second Scritti Politti album, Cupid and Psyche 85, in June of 1985. And I got to say, man, there was an impressive list of session musicians that played on this album. At this point, Green and his new bandmates are like, whatever. We are going to do whatever sounds best. Whoever sounds best playing it. We are trying to make polished, perfect pop music. So on this album, he has Michael Jackson's guitarist, Paul Jackson Jr., Kate Bush guitarist, Alan Murphy, Dusty Springfield pianist, Robbie Buchanan, Miles Davis bassist, Market Miller, and Miles Davis is going to come up again in this story. Wild. And the producer of this album is Arif Mardin, who was the legend behind classic albums for Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick, the Bee Gees, and Hall & Oates. And so he has assembled this mega team.
He's not fucking around at all at this point.
No. And this album came out on Virgin Records. And dude, over half the songs on this album are released as singles with music videos. And the first single was a song called Would Bees, parentheses, Pray Like Aretha Franklin. Dude, the song titles and the lyrics, the lyrics are so heady, and that really stood out to me too, that this guy is a very, he isn't writing bubblegum lowest common denominator lyrics. I don't know what the hell he's writing about.
He's definitely a true artiste in the deepest of senses. He really is taking the he's making thinking man's music, and that was a thing. I know we watched that same documentary. No matter what decade they're interviewing people, they're all just saying how smart his songwriting is, and how when they're talking about this album that has Perfect Way, they're it is a perfectly produced album in every aspect of production. He is definitely looked at as a thinking man's musician.
Yeah, and I forget the guy's name. It's actually a song title on the first album, Songs to Remember. He read a book by this philosopher. I forget the guy's name. It doesn't matter. But then he became friends with this philosopher and was very influenced by this guy. And that seeped into the music as well. So you got this Would Be song, was the Would Bees, Beez, by the way. My note on it is, man, I like this. Then the songs Absolute and Hypnotize were the next two singles. The songs are great, man. They are over the top pop songs. He didn't shy away from any of the sounds of the 80s, the synth sounds, and the just to a certain extent, I was like, hey, some of these sounds I'm hearing remind me of Prince or something.
Yeah, I could see that. I can 100% see that.
So he releases the 3 songs, then there's a 6-month break, and then they released the 4th single called The Word Girl, just ahead of the album being released. So 4 Scritti Politti singles have been released before the album even comes out yet. The Word Girl was their biggest hit in the UK, and it was a throwback to The Sweetest Girl from 1981 because it was a reggae-based song.
Yeah.
Then, finally, the 5th single from the album, Perfect Way. This song only went to number 48 in the UK, but it became, why we're talking about Scritti Politti on One Hit Thunder, the only US hit for Scritti Politti. And it went to number 11 on the Hot 100. Pretty interesting.
I was able to find, it took me so long to find
found
this,
it too.
But yeah, it peaked. Did you get December 21st? Was that your peak date?
December 21st of 1985. That's right.
Yeah. Between ZZ Top, Sleeping Bag at number 10, and Tonight She Comes by The Cars at number 12. Bands I know, songs that I'm not that familiar with.
Well, yeah. I mean, the number one song at this moment, though, was Say You, Say Me from Lionel Richie. You had Broken Wings for Mr. Mister, Party All the Time from Eddie Murphy, which we did a past episode about. That's What Friends Are For, or is in the charts at that moment. Small Town from John Cougar Mellencamp. Yeah, and Perfect Way at number 11, which I will note, 4 spots above at that moment, We Built This City from Starship. So it definitely had this moment in the charts, enough so that I still can't get over the fact that this was number 70 on our list and that neither of us knew or had heard this song.
I had never even sniffed anything near what this song was. I had no clue what people were talking about with this.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
And it's a good, I should say, we've been talking around it. It's a good song. It's a genuinely good song.
It is.
I don't think it's going to make it into my regular rotation, but I was like, oh, this is just a good pop song.
It feels like the blueprint for a band like Joan or the 1975, who aren't afraid. The rock bands or whatever, like they use rock instruments, but aren't afraid to just completely lean into, if we want to make this a pop song, like a sugary, super pop song, we're going to do it. And that's what Scritti Politti did too. But I will say, this song, Perfect Way, that lyric, I Got a Perfect Way, it's referencing that he has a way to seduce women. And if you want to get meta about it, it's a song about his perfect way to seduce women is by writing a song like Perfect Way. Writing perfect pop songs.
You mentioned them already. Did you happen to see the list of people who consider Scritti Politti a major influence on them?
I didn't. So
it was Maddie Healy of the 1975.
Makes sense.
Kylie Minogue. Haim, Haim. Is that Haim?
Haim. You don't know who Haim is?
I know who they are. I don't know how to pronounce the name though. And Carly Rae Jepsen includes Scritti Politti as an influence, and obviously not an influence on this artist, but Elton John had been very vocal about his fondness for this band.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. It makes sense that I like this if it influenced the 1975 and Carly Rae Jepsen, because I love both of them, and I can hear it. I don't know. I mean, the 1975 are from England, so maybe Scritti Politti was a little bit more in.
They were bigger there but still.
Yeah, and Carly Rae Jepsen, Canadian. I don't know. Was Scritti Politti a little more popular in Canada? I mean, she's somewhere in between our ages or whatever. I don't know that she was necessarily listening to Scritti Politti as a kid, but I love that. And it's just the story gets so crazy with this man, because you see how respected Green was. Now, an instrumental version of Perfect Way a year later was recorded by Miles Davis
I did see that too. That's so weird.
It's so weird, but Miles was recording this album, and producer Tommy LaPuma thought the album needed a cover on it, so he gave Miles a bunch of pop albums to listen to. Miles himself selected Perfect Way. In fact, he liked the tune so much that he originally planned to make it the title track of the album. It didn't end up being that. The album ended up being called Tutu. But later on, Miles became friends with Green, and he played on the Scritti Politti song Oh Patty, and even appeared in the music video. Now that was from the next album. But man, Green is just respected, and just you see how he's influencing people all over the place, because then Green and his current bandmate David Gamson wrote and produced Love of a Lifetime for Shaka Khan in 1986. They also collaborated to write the title track for Al Jarreau's album, L is for Lovers. So you got this like up and coming pop guy writing songs and collaborating with like legendary artists.
Yeah, it's wild. It's what like this is kind of one of those, we've always talked about this, but like this is one of those, yeah, I'm a one-hit wonder best case scenarios, right? Like, yeah, all right, great. In America, he had the one hit. Like, dude got to meet and hang with so many legends who admired him. It's very much in like what we talked about with like Dan Wilson, where it's like, all right, sure, you can call Semisonic a one-hit wonder all you want, but that dude's songwriting credits and the amount of like giant artists that his fingerprints have now been on is worth more than 15 number one records. You know what I mean?
Right. Hey there, One Hit Thunder listeners. Are you ready to take your music to the next level? Well, get ready to rock because this episode is brought to you by DistroKid, the ultimate digital music distribution service for artists like you. With DistroKid, you can easily upload your songs or albums to online stores and streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, reaching fans all around the globe. But that's just the beginning. DistroKid offers a ton of awesome features like Hyperfollow, which helps you promote your releases and get pre-saves on your songs, all for free. But wait, there's more. The DistroKid app is now available on iOS and Android. With the app, you can manage your releases, track your streaming stats, and even withdraw your earnings, all from the palm of your hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. This powerful tool allows you to put the finishing touches on your tracks in minutes, ensuring they sound polished and professional every time. But that's not all. DistroKid has just launched a brand new feature called Instant Share, allowing you to easily share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more. With Instant Share, you can keep your music streaming at the highest quality while making the best impression possible. So what are you waiting for? Elevate your music career today with DistroKid and unlock a world of possibilities. Possibilities that I know all about because I've been using DistroKid for years. It's seriously great. If you haven't used it before, you're going to love it. And One Hit Thunder listeners get an exclusive offer, 30% off your first year with DistroKid by signing up at distrokid.com/VIP/OneHitThunder. That's distrokid.com/VIP/OneHitThunder.
This summer, serve up the Cookout Classics, Heinz Ketchup, and Kraft Singles. Every good burger needs a layer of perfectly melty cheese and thick, rich ketchup. We all know it's not a cookout without Heinz and Kraft.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
You thought this was your Run Club era. Turns out, it was more of a thinking about Run Club era. The good news? Someone's marathon training is about to start. Sell your workout gear on Depop. Just snap a few photos and we'll take care of the rest. They get their race day fit and you get a payout for trying. Someone on Depop wants what you've got. Start selling now. Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
We're making an ad.
Napping ad.
I hear that Gary Sinise is free.
Oh, okay, great.
He hasn't worked since 2020.
So, what would be the script that we would have Gary Sinise say for the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast?
Listen to this damn show. Damn it.
The Napping Through Happy Hour podcast brought to you by Geekscape.
Real life, real drama, real time.
I'm Gary Sinise.
That's the ad. That's the ad. That's the ad.
So in 1987, Scritti Politti appeared on the Who's That Girl soundtrack, the Madonna movie, with the song Best Thing Ever, which also appeared on Scritti Politti's 1988 album Provision. This album went further, leaned even more into synth, funk, and reggae. There's a song on this album called Oh Patty, Don't Feel Sorry for Loverboy that went to number 13 in the UK. The song First Boy in Town, Lovesick, hit number 53 on the Hot 100. So they did have another song that cracked the Hot 100 over here, but didn't even make its way into the top 40. But it's during this time, sales aren't as good as the past stuff. And in general, you know, this is like a running theme with Green. His health is deteriorating. Before and after recording this album, he said he was in a poor state, both physically and psychologically. He was living in hotels and apartments in America. He had a brief cocaine problem. It was the 80s. And after promoting this album, Provision, he had a complete collapse. He was in the hospital for a while. Then he spent, this is kind of where we learned a lot about this in that documentary, Matt. He spent a few years living what he described as the life of a hermit in the Welsh countryside for a few years. Now, when you watch that documentary, he talks a lot about like, yeah, I had like it looked like a little barn or something with gear, instruments, recording equipment or whatever. But he's like, I just didn't want to do it. He's like, I would open the door and then I would panic and close the door again, basically. Right. So, you know, you hear this is a tale as old as time with great artists. You know, everybody from Brian Wilson to Kurt Cobain, you know, like this is not an uncommon story of balancing fame and I don't know, artistic vision and everything else, mental illness, whatever. But he released a couple more Scritti Politti singles in 1991, just random songs, but he didn't release another Scritti Politti album until 1999's Anime and Bonamy. And the documentary, which you can watch it on YouTube that Matt and I keep referencing, it was from around this time. It was I think it was to promote the album practically, because I think this came out in 1999 and that documentary was from 2000. Yeah. So it was definitely like, hey, this artist who's been MIA for about 8 years has put out this album that's like really unique and different. And it is unique and different is definitely a word to describe it after the journey that you've already taken with Scritti Politti. Yeah. Because this is like way more. It's certainly not a nostalgic act. This is him bonding with what was happening in music and finally being like, all right, I feel like I have something to bring to the table again. I mean, he made a hip hop album and with Mos Def on one of the tracks. And that track is really good. That song's really, really good. It is. Like he's collaborating with Mos Def, Michelle and Deggiocello's on this album. Lee Majors of the Bush Babies. And he even, to his credit, man, he even said like, I love hip hop. He loves creating the beats, maybe a melody within, you know, whether it's pad vocals or a hook, but he's not trying to rap. He's bringing in MCs to rap on these songs, and they are good. And also, they kind of talked about this for a second in the documentary. Kind of credit to Virgin for being a major label that stuck with this guy. You would have thought that he would have got dropped after like a decade of not releasing an album, but they stuck with him and released this album. Now, very much under the radar, you know, like, we didn't know about this album, but no. And we were very much alive and listening to the music that was coming out at that time. Like I would have known about this record if it was pushed hard for sure. Yeah. I mean, and then since then it's been like, he's popped up. Green has popped up here and there. He appeared on Kylie Minogue's album Body Language in 2003. That's I guess she claims him as an influence, you said. In 2006, Green had a new incarnation of Scritti Politti billed as Double G and the Traitorous 3, and they played a show in Brixton. This was Green's first live appearance since 1980. That's insane. Yeah. 26 years without a live show. It really speaks to Green as a songwriter and singer and artist in general, that he could have any success without playing live at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's how badly people like want it more from him, I guess. That like, they're like, all right. I mean, listen, certain musicians, they get away with it, right? The Beatles, the last like 4 years of the Beatles, they didn't play live except for when they showed up on a rooftop.
Sure.
They were like, we'd rather go in the studio and not. Now, obviously, the Beatles are a slightly different case because they were in the studio knocking out like 3 albums a year during their time of not playing live.
Yeah.
Scritti Politti definitely had some gaps in their release schedule. But yeah, I love that for him. I love that he was able to say like, hey, this is just a thing I'm not able to do. But for so many artists, that's the end of the story, right? Like, it's like, hey, this is a thing. I just don't think I'm able to do it. And then you never hear from that artist again. And that's like the end of their story. But he was like, no, I'm still going to make music. I just have to do it in my own way and in my own time and when I feel inspired to do it.
Well, that's really what a true artist is, right? Like, you're doing it for the love of creating something. And I've talked about, maybe with you before, definitely with the Makes before, about, you know, when you decide to pursue music or be in a band or whatever, it should be because you have music inside of you that you want to get out.
Needs to get out.
I mean, I shouldn't say should. Everyone has their own reasons they come in to creating music and playing music. But it's funny how you have to, now more than ever, you're forced to wear like 10 different hats. No, you can't just be a singer and songwriter. You also have to be a touring musician. You also have to be a marketing person. You also, now you have to create short form content for Instagram and TikTok. You have to do a podcast. You have to be up to date on how to play the algorithm game. You have to be able to go talk to people and do a VIP meet and greet. And you have to be able to talk in interviews. Like I could go on and on here, but I'm just saying, like, some people just want to write songs and make music and record. It's a shame that, most of those people, if you don't, I know people like this who are amazing musicians, but just want to do the music part and don't want anything to do with any of the other parts. And hey man, 99 times out of 100, if that's the case, unless you get scooped up by some like team of people that want to propel you because you're that good, I think 999 times out of 1,000, you're probably not going to be successful. And I say that in quotes. I mean, we can define success in a lot of different ways. I'm saying I define it in music as probably being able to pay your bills and live off
just
of.
being able to exist as a musician as your gig.
Right. Green's story to me is, I really like him. And even watching interviews with him, I mean this is like a good thing, but there is a sort of like Brian Wilson thing about him.
There is a little bit, yeah.
He's very mild-mannered, speaks very intelligently but quietly about music.
Yeah.
There's nothing like, I mean, at least in that documentary, there was nothing about this guy where I thought he came off as a prima donna or something. He just
seems to have a genuine passion for the music, which is just so nice to hear. Like he's a man who just loves to create, and I love that.
Would you say that that's the perfect way to make music, Matt?
You know what? It is the perfect way to make music. That feels like a built-in to trivia if I've ever heard one.
Come on, you blew it. I set you up. You were supposed to say that sounds like a perfect segue, a perfect way to segue into a game. All right, we'll play a game. You know the rules. If you're listening out there,
going for 10. Yeah,
you're going for 10 points.
Going for 10 points. It's 2 points if I don't need the multiple choice. It's 1 point if I do. If I guess with no multiple choice and get it wrong, I lose a point.
That's correct.
There's usually 7 questions, so 14 is the total. I'm going for 10.
I love it. I love it. I think you can do it, man. I believe in you. Perfect Way was featured on the soundtrack to what 2010 film starring John Cusack and Craig Robinson?
Oh, yeah, I guess that would have been 2010. Hot Tub Time Machine?
You got it.
Yeah.
Nice job. 2 points right off the bat. Yeah, Perfect Way is in that movie.
That's insane.
Okay. Perfect Way was featured in season 1, episode 17 of what sitcom in an episode titled Charity Begins at Home, in which sibling rivalry takes hold when Ben solicits money from the neighbors so he can buy Jason an expensive birthday present?
I'm going to need some multiple choice. The Ben and Jason part isn't helping.
Okay. So season 1, episode 17, sibling rivalry takes hold when Ben solicits money from the neighbors so he can buy Jason an expensive birthday present. A, Family Ties. B, Growing Pains. C, Small Wonder. Or D, Mr. Belvedere.
Okay. I'm going to eliminate Family Ties is the Michael J. Fox one, right? That's Alex P. Keaton. So I'll remove Family Ties. I'll remove Small Wonder. So it's either Mr. Belvedere, Growing Pains, both shows that I've never watched. And I'm going to go with Growing Pains.
You got it. You know,
yes.
Ben Seaver on that show. You should watch that show, by the way.
He's going to be at Comic-Con this year for Geekscape,
Yeah,
actually.
That's our friend, Jonathan London's friend. Like, they're friends. Yeah. The most random memory I can ever tell you. I watched Growing Pains growing up. And Ben was the younger brother. Obviously, Kirk Cameron was the older brother, and they had a sister, too. There's an episode where their house gets robbed, and I don't know why this is tattooed in my brain. I think it's just because I loved Garbage Pail Kids so much, and I couldn't believe that they were being referenced on a television show. And their house gets robbed, and they're talking. Ben's talking to his dad. They're kind of like, you know, talking about how maybe they shouldn't have possessions or whatever. They're not really serious about it. But the episode ends with Ben saying to his dad, "Do you think I can keep my Garbage Pail Kids?" And I was like, whoa, he referenced Garbage Pail Kids on a show on TV. Like, I don't know. Just interesting. And you never watched Mr. Belvedere?
I never watched any of those 4 shows. I've actually never watched more than maybe like highlights or clips from, even Family Ties. Keep in mind, all these are like, I was not born yet when most of them were airing.
I know, but dude,
I'm October of 85. So
dude, Family Ties is a good ass show.
That's what I've heard. So would you say of those 4, if I was going to sit down and actually watch one of them, Family Ties is the one?
Yeah. Family Ties is funny because the parents are like lefty hippies.
Yeah, they're hippies, and he's like a Republican,
yeah,
right? Their son is like a super Republican.
Yeah, and also, there's these episodes, I've seen them so many times. There's like a channel, I think, on like Tubi or something that plays Family Ties just on a loop forever.
Pluto, probably. Pluto has that all Family Ties channel.
But there's an episode, it's like a 2-part episode that's like basically like black box theater of Michael J. Fox, because his friend dies in a car crash, and it is him. Like, dude, I got chills just thinking about it. It is like the most famous Family Ties episodes, and it is like him just having like an existential crisis in black box theater. And dude,
I gotta watch that. That sounds like right up my alley of abstract early television.
You will cry. I promise.
Oh, I mean, that's not difficult. I cry watching everything. So,
but like, yeah, because it's about a young person dying and then another young person dealing with that. mortality.
That loss. Yeah.
It was so heavy for
okay.
like a sitcom on, a half-hour sitcom in the 80s. Think about like what's on. Like, one more thing I want to say, Mr. Belvedere. Do you know like the what it is basically?
Is Mr. Belvedere another one of those like guy adopts random child shows, or am I thinking of Punky Brewster?
No,
I'm thinking of Punky Brewster.
Mr. Belvedere was like a butler. He worked as a butler for these people. And he was, I think he's English, if I remember correctly. But it takes place in Pittsburgh. That's one thing about it.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Pittsburgh big on butlers?
I guess. I don't remember like why they can afford a butler. Their house wasn't, I don't remember their house being like, especially like, it wasn't like a mansion or something. We're not talking silver spoons here. But what came up? I don't know. I searched Mr. Belvedere and I laughed so hard. Did you ever see the Saturday Night Live sketch of the Mr. Belvedere fan club where Tom Hanks is the guy who runs the Mr. Belvedere fan club?
Oh,
dude, you gotta look that up. You will. I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't know who Mr. Belvedere is, but it's like the cast with like Chris Farley and like Victoria Jackson was still on at that point, Tim Meadows, and it is so funny, man, that they're deciding, like he has like a gavel and they're like making choices about their fan club, and they're like recommending nicknames for Mr. Belvedere that only they know, and everyone's like standing up and making suggestions, and Kevin Nealon stands up and goes, I think we should call him Brock Toon. And Tom Hanks is like, that's it, Brock Toon. And for the rest of the sketch, they refer to Mr. Belvedere as Brock Toon. Dude, it is so like, it's such a next level Saturday Night Live sketch. Yeah.
So I had to look up what the pilot of Mr. Belvedere's premise was to figure out why they have this butler. And it says that Marcia places an ad seeking a housekeeper to help around the house when it is answered by Mr. Belvedere, a retired butler looking to adjust to suburban life.
Okay.
So that's why they had him, was like they just needed someone to come and clean the house once in a while, and they ended up just getting a whole ass butler instead.
I felt like he lived there.
I mean, I think he decided to live. I'm sure that if I sat down and watched the pilot, he would find a way to end up just living at the house.
We gotta do, you and I gotta do a special episode where we report back on the pilot episode of Mr.
Belvedere
Belvedere
Bros.
Belvedere Bros. Could you imagine if we, dude, that's so funny. If we did, what a waste of time it would be to watch every Mr.
117 episodes.
Dude, if we did 117 episodes of Belvedere Bros, that's such a funny idea. Nobody would listen to that. That's so ridiculous. Okay. You got 3 points.
All right, well, I'm
Matt.
at 3 points. Yeah, let's keep it going.
Scritti Politti's The Sweetest Girl is featured in what 2001 Michelle Williams film, which is also the name of a Tooth and Nail Records band?
Okay, Michelle Williams is in a movie. That's also the name of a Tooth and Nail band.
Yes. And The Sweetest Girl is in the movie.
And The Sweetest Girl is in the movie. Oh, fuck. 2001. I'm trying to think of all the Michelle Williams movies from 2001, and all that I can think of is Dick, which I'm pretty sure there wasn't a Tooth and Nail band called Dick.
Oh, well, I wish.
All right, let's do the multiple choice. I feel like when I hear those, I'll definitely know the answer because I'm blanking.
A, Norma Jean. B, Me Without You. C, Acceptance. Or D, Dead Poetic.
Wow, that didn't help at all. I know all of those as Tooth and Nail bands. I don't know any of those as movies. Me Without You could be a movie title. I don't think it was Norma Jean. I don't think that she was in. I feel like I would remember if Michelle Williams played Marilyn Monroe in a movie in 2001. I also don't think there's a movie called Dead Poetic, as far as I know. I'm going to go with Acceptance.
That is incorrect. It is actually Me Without You. Couple things, Matt. First of all, I thought Norma Jean was going to throw you off because Michelle Williams did play Marilyn Monroe in a movie called My Week with Marilyn.
I forgot that she was Marilyn Monroe in that movie.
Dude, first of all, I love that movie. Second of all, Michelle Williams is amazing in it, as she is in everything.
She's great. Yeah.
My favorite actor of all time is Michelle Williams. Me Without You, Matt, I cannot recommend enough you watching Me Without You.
I'm looking this up now.
It is a coming of age movie where
love those.
It's her and her friend. Her friend's like kind of jealous of her for certain reasons, different eras of their life. And they're like, it's like late 70s and they're like punk rockers or like wannabe punk rockers early in it. And then in the 80s, they're like in college and they're like into like, you know, it's like the Smiths era or whatever. It's like different eras of their life. It's on like one of those things like Tubi or Pluto or whatever. It is such a good movie. I just watched it again because when I was making this quiz, I was reminded of it. And I'm like, man, I love this movie. You should watch that.
Yeah, let me see. Wow. Yeah, that was right after Dick. It was Dick, but I'm a cheerleader, Me Without You was her IMDb credits. And Me Without You came out after. I wonder if they named themselves after that movie.
They weren't before the movie?
I don't think they were.
I felt like they were around in the 90s, but maybe I'm wrong.
See,
they're not named after that movie.
They were formed in 2001.
Oh. If they are named after that obscure Michelle Williams movie, I am impressed.
I mean, they're a weird band. I'm not sure if you've ever listened to Me Without You, but they are fucking out there.
Yeah.
And everybody I know who's met them has been like, very nice, very strange.
Okay. All right. So you got 3 points, Matt.
Okay.
The week that Perfect Way hit its Billboard peak of number 11, it was 23 spots above You Belong to the City by which Eagle?
It doesn't make sense to ask for multiple choice because you're just going to give me the names of Eagles members, and I don't know this song at all. So I'm going to take a big old swing and say Glenn Fry.
You got it.
Hell yeah!
You got 5 points.
I'm proud of myself on that.
You don't know You Belong to the City? You belong to the city. Do-do-do. It has like saxophone in it.
Vaguely. I definitely have heard it, but I wouldn't have been able to say like definitively who was the singer in that or whatever.
Matt, you were alive for your goal. You got 5 points with 3 questions left.
Okay.
Arif Mardin, who produced Perfect Way, won a Record of the Year Grammy in 1990 and then was nominated again for Record of the Year for a different song from that same artist. What female singer and actress was it?
All right, can you repeat that? I'm closing my eyes to follow this.
Okay.
Go.
Arif Mardin, the producer of Perfect Way, won a Record of the Year Grammy in 1990 and then was nominated again the next year for Record of the Year for a different song from that same artist that he had just won a Grammy for the year before. What female singer and actress was it?
So I'm trying to think of all the different singer, even just based on the order that you went and the fact that there was 2 Grammys back to back. That to me
won one and then nominated for one the next year. Record of the Year.
That says to me that they're a singer that acts. But I actually think, I think I know who it is because I think that this is a person who started as a singer, but now is probably more known as an actress over, like, is it Bette Midler?
You got it.
Yeah. I was sitting there trying to think, and I'm like, it probably would have been like Wind Beneath My Wings and then From a Distance would have been the 2 songs that she was nominated for.
That's exactly what it is. Nice job, man. Wow. 7 points. So that means with these last 2 questions, you need to get one with a multiple choice and one without, and you can hit your goal.
Okay.
Perfect Way was the number 11 song in the country the week of Christmas in 1985? The perfect way to make your kid happy this week might be to get the number 1 selling toy of the Christmas of 1985, which was what?
I have a guess, and I feel... Oh, I'm worried about risking losing a point. I'm going to ask you as a friend, not as a trivia host. What are my chances of not needing multiple choice on the final question looking like?
If I
had to cash in a multiple choice, would it be smarter on this one or the next one?
Next one. If you're going to take a swing, I would take it now.
Okay. I'm torn between 2 options, so I'm going to say both of the options, and then I'll say what my final call is. I'm torn between a My Buddy doll or a Cabbage Patch doll. I think the My Buddy doll was like a year later, so I'm going to go with Cabbage Patch doll.
Sorry, Matt. 1985, the number 1 selling toy was actually Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, Teddy Ruxpin. I even had one as a kid.
All right. So you're back down to 6 points. Final question.
Yeah, can't hit my 10.
That's okay.
But all right.
You did pretty good. Billboard actually had a Christmas hits chart from 1983 until 1989, except for 1986. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird, but they did have a Christmas hits chart for a few years there. What was the number 1 Christmas single of 1985?
All right, well, let's go with the multiple choice on this since I'm not hitting 10 no matter what.
A, Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. B, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer by Elmo and Patsy. C, White Christmas by Bing Crosby. Or D, Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen.
Christmas in Hollis, I'm pretty sure, is 87, so it wouldn't be on the list. I know that White Christmas is a very popular song, but I don't think it would have been the number 1 song, Christmas song of 1985. So it's either the Bruce Springsteen song or it's Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And I don't know, I think that Bruce Springsteen song was just a tiny bit later, like a year or 2 later, maybe. I'm gonna take the swing and say it's Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Sorry, Matt. It was actually Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce
Damn
Springsteen.
it! I got it narrowed down, but god damn it.
Funny enough, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer would have been the right answer in 1983 and 1984.
I was gonna say they love that song.
People had that. They wanted their Elmo and Patsy.
Yeah, they couldn't stop buying that single.
Yeah, we could probably do an Elmo and Patsy one hit thunder.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, how has that not been one of our Christmas episodes? That there's no way that they have another giant charting hit.
I wonder if they have another song.
I think they do, and I only think that because I was on the I had to do Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer for the Real Big Fish podcasts because they covered it.
Oof.
They had me on their Christmas episodes, and I did Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer by them. And I remember doing a little bit of research, and they're they're a crazy duo. Their story is pretty wild. We should definitely do them, but I do know that they have more than one song.
Okay. All right. How do we feel about Scritti Politti?
I'm definitely giving them thunder. I'll say that immediately. But this is like one of those weird ones because I'm giving them thunder even though I don't think I'm going to ever really revisit their music. But I think that they are an undeniable... Green is an undeniably talented musician that has made great pop music. And I actually really liked the hip hop album from 1990. I think that was my favorite of all of the Scritti Politti albums was that one. So I think that people should actually really check out their music, especially if you liked The Perfect Way enough that you were one of the people who put it on your list so that it would be on the Thundred, but you haven't checked out the rest of their catalog. Dive in, because it's all that. Like, it's all what you loved in that song, but like with some reggae influence, and then like later on with some hip hop influence. But I was into it. I'm never going to listen to more Scritti Politti, but I think that they are undeniably a Thunder.
Okay, I'm going Thunder too, and I disagree with you. I think I would listen to Scritti Politti more.
Well, let's talk about the influences and everything for sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I would especially recommend check out the album Cupid and Psyche 85. That's the one with the hits. If you like Perfect Way, there's like 4 songs on this album that are even better than that song. It is just perfect 80s synth pop, a certain level of cheese to it, but like charming, like in a charming way. It's just using the synth technology to its fullest extent, and I think Scritti Politti is great. I came in once again thinking that this was going to be something where like, oh God, what is this? Just kind of based off my first impression of Perfect Way. Now I like Perfect Way, and I think Scritti Politti's great. Thunder, certified.
This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is hosted by Chris Ofalios of the band Punchline and produced by Matt Kelly of Geekscape.net. Underneath me you're hearing Honey, This Is Nothing New off the Punchline album Lion. Go to punchlinemusic.com for more songs, merch, and future tour dates. Our podcast is on Patreon, so find us at patreon.com/OHT podcast for early access to episodes, bonus conversations, and a chance to vote on a future song for us to cover. Support the show by buying a t-shirt at our merch store, onehithunder.dashery.com, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app. Tune in next week for more One Hit Thunder.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.